Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new Adobe Live session on the UK channel today. I'm so excited to have such a special guest with me today because we're going to talk about a very specific theme, which we kickstarted last week. And it's this month's theme is really important for all of us because I know we all had a kind of like a challenging year, and it's all about how to make it count for 2021 and what kind of learnings have you learned from the past to kind of involve them into this new year. I want to say hello to everyone who's joining us today, our viewers, our fans, our newcomers. Hello, everyone. An amazing chat community here. Jackie, Christy, Oliver, Gareth, Sean, Emma. Hello, Emma, Stuart, Steve. And so, yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. If you are joining us on YouTube, do switch to behance.net/live so we can say hello to you. We'd love to see you. Well, virtually see you and answer your questions, and you can just engage with the community that we have right now, and we already have some questions already, so can't wait to get started. Don't forget that we are live on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I will go over the schedule for next week in a few, but for now I'm super excited to introduce my lovely guest today, Gavin Strange, aka JamFactory. Hi Gavin, how are you?
Hello there, my lovely. I am very well, thank you very much. Very excited to be here. Hello, people of the internet. It's just lovely to see other human faces. So this is great.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. So Gavin is based in Bristol, so shout out to all our Bristol viewers today. He's a director and designer for the big Aardman Animations. Think about Wallace and Gromit, Shaun the Sheep, and of course many other amazing animation projects that they've been working on. He's also has had this passion in side projects such as filmmaking, even like toy design, illustration, and photography, which has been a huge part of his career that we're going to go through it today and talk about how side projects have helped, during the lockdowns and got him to go through and to learn new disciplines. Of course, Gavin is also the author of his latest book. Well, I wouldn't say latest. It has been a couple of years now, right, Gavin?
It'll be 5 years this year, 2016. 2016.
Oh my God. Yeah. So that was like your first publication, right? Do Fly. Such a beautiful and inspirational book. Everyone is welcome to check out. Here it is.
I just knocked down like loads of stuff on my desk, just trying to pull that out. That wasn't very seamless. Sorry.
Would you be able to get a cat somewhere, or from all the background? Oops. Amazing. So yeah, I can't wait to hear all about your 2020 in review, Gavin. I know that especially creative artists from everywhere, it's been like a global challenge, really. And I know that some of us have lost motivation. Some of us actually took so many positive things from last year, and that's what we're doing today. We want to find this kind of positivity that you found during the past year. People just kind of started creating and exploring new disciplines, and just by staying at home, there were so many advantages, besides the challenges and the struggles. But we're here to find positivity with you. So let's see, what was like the first learning from 2020, and how did you use that into kickstarting your year today?
That's a really good point. First learning of 2020. I mean, like everyone, of course, and like it's obviously really important off the bat that we say how devastating and heartbreaking and just how turbulent the past 12 months have been for everyone, and like we don't ever want to take away from that. It is heartbreaking, and it continues, but I guess all you can do, the things that are in your control, I guess, are to try and sort of manipulate the circumstances to make you feel as happy as and satisfied as you can. And I think that's why I sort of try and always do myself, really, is you can't really concern yourself with the things that you can't control. It doesn't mean they won't concern you, but you can't let that sort of take a hold of you. Well, you've got to work at it. This is the other thing, sort of positivity and this whole mindset it takes work. You have to work at it, like anything else, like a good relationship or a good marriage. Like, it takes work. You have to cultivate these things, I think. So I've sort of just basically spent my whole career just trying to sort of formulate and cultivate a positive mindset, just purely for me, because I feel like life is too short not to. It can be devastatingly short. It can be heartbreakingly short. Flipping heck, we've seen that this year. You know, we've really seen that this year. So I just feel like, for me personally, like, my mantra is to, like, I owe it to myself to try and carve out positive experiences and to try and do stuff that makes me happy. And for me, aside from, you know, being a father, being a husband, being a brother, a son, you know, it's creative work. Creative work absolutely makes my heart sing. So I try as often as I can and as frequently as possible to be creatively satisfied, really, whether that's in my day job at Aardman or in my own time under the name of JamFactory. So to answer your question, I've already gone off topic of sort of what was the biggest learning, or the first learning, you know, when sort of lockdown hit and things changed, was, I guess, trying to shift a routine is probably the first one. You know, everything was up in the air, but I wanted some sense of normality, and I wanted some sense of framework for me to carry on making stuff. Working from home with last year was we had our toddler Sully, who was 3, but we now have a newborn baby that I'll talk about in a bit, that came along at the end of the year. But at the start of lockdown, it was us 3 in the house and our doggy, and that was interesting to try and work that out and stuff, like so many billions of people are doing as well. So yeah, it was basically shifting routines, trying to let go of how it used to work, and trying to sort of be a team with my wife Jane, to get through it together, to be partners and to sort of figure it out. So yeah, I guess changing routine was probably the first thing that we
shout out to Jane, who also has her own proper shop, but it's on pause now, because congratulations, you just
thank you very much,
baby. And that's what we also would like to talk about in this session, because I know, you know, we have parents here also watching us, and just having, you know, like a working father from home with 2 kids, like, how did you manage to balance, you know, your work and, you know, being this awesome father, taking care of these 2 kids, and also like helping with Jane in the house? Like, was that challenging for you? How it could be definitely inspiring to hear your point of view.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I don't know whether I'm doing all these things, but I don't know if I'm doing any of them well. You know, I am a dad, I am a husband, I am a worker, I am all these things. I don't know if I'm doing them well, but, you know, I'm trying. And I think, yeah, again, I think communication is so key. And me and my wife, Jane, are very, very good at communicating. Like, we try and identify if one of us is down, but we talk a lot, really. We don't let things sort of bubble up. So I think that's something we work hard at. You know, we do work hard at communication, which really, really helps. And I think, again, we both love what we do. Jane is a jewelry designer and maker, so her shout out janekenny.co.uk. That's Jane's jewelry business. She's an awesome creative who makes wonderful things, but you know, she's an incredible mum, and she sacrificed a lot. For the second time now with our second baby, you know, she sacrificed her working hours to raise our family, which I'm incredibly grateful for. But there was something awesome that our mortgage advisor once told us, that when we were looking at buying a house a few years ago, you know, he said to Jane, it's like, please don't ever underestimate your contribution. You know, your contribution for, you know, of raising the family and looking after the children whilst one of you works is just as important as it, and it has real monetary value. It's sort of like, you're talking 30 grand plus. It is a job. It is something that has to be recognized. And, you know, like, I don't think people mean it sometimes when they say, oh, you had all that time off. It's like, it's not time off. Looking after children is super difficult. You know, it's a job like anything else. And yeah, I think we talk about this stuff an awful lot, and we want to, I think we're very good at sort of changing our situation and changing our routine as and when it needs it. And for me personally, so our little baby came along just 7 weeks ago, and that changed everything. I'm sure parents who have 2 kids are like, yeah, it's really hard, and it's so different. It really threw us with just trying to do, even just trying to keep on top of it, have a clean house, have food on the table, you know, sort of just to try and keep up with everything. Yeah. But, you know, a big part of it for me, I took 5 weeks off paternity leave, which was beautiful. It fell over Christmas as well. So we just had an awesome time together here at home. But coming back into it, you know, I get a real joy out of being creative and making things happen. But I have, and this is the first week that this has happened, I had to figure out a way to stay creatively satisfied and do my day job and be a dad and be a husband and, you know, make your life work. And I had to basically just look at my time. And I used to work in the evenings. In the evening, about 9 o'clock, that's when Sully would be in bed, our toddler, and Jane would go out into her workshop and I would come into here, my den, to do my work. But with the newborn, we're really, really tired. There's still things that need sorting out of the house. And I want to see my wife and my new baby. You know, I want to be with them after a day of working. So I didn't want to sacrifice that time, but I still want to work and be creative. So, and I used to get up early. When Sully first came along, our toddler, I would get up early. But now I can't set an alarm because I don't want to wake up my wife and my baby who are in the same room. Yeah. So the way I've worked it out, and I've managed it 3 times this week, is when the baby sort of stirs, very early morning when they need a change. So Jane feeds our baby and I do the nappy changes. You know, if it's about 4:30, 5 o'clock, I'll do the nappy change and then I get up and come in here for 2 hours until our son wakes up at 7. And it feels great. I've got to tell you, it feels fantastic because, you know, the hardest bit of anything, getting up early, is just getting out of bed. Once you've done that bit, it just gets easier. But just like that elevation of 90 degrees is so difficult. But because I have to, for the changing, it's like, you know, if it's between 4:30 and 5, I'll do it. Like the other morning, it was 3 a.m. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. But it feels good. So I feel really creatively satisfied this week. I've managed a little bit of time and I've managed focus time because I know the clock is ticking. I know that my boy will wake up at 7. So I don't scroll on Instagram. I don't get lost on Twitter. You know, I stay focused. So yeah, I'm really, really pleased to have found that. But it will change. It will change, and it has to change as well. You know, as our children change age and do different things, you know, we're doing that. So I think that's it. Always looking at a routine and always looking what works for you. You know, what works for one person might not work for another. But I think communication and just trying to look at your own balance is healthy anyway, right?
Of course, that's like, I mean, this is just like pure positivity. You know, like just kind of like taking the challenges and turning them into something positive, something that you can change. Like it's like you said, switching your routine. And I have here Vincent, who took a quote from you, which is, "Your energy is currency, spend it well, invest it wisely." And that really fits in what you're talking about. Like you do need to kind of organize your time, and of course we have the right to get lost. We have the right to waste time. And I think this is important. You have to be bored. You have to waste time in order to kind of like reset your mind in order to be able to work again. But yeah, definitely, you know, just it's just a small push. It's all what it takes. And, you know, nurturing your inspiration and just kind of like being motivated. I know it's hard. It feels like a hard work these days, but you have to work for it in the end.
Mate, that's so perfect. You have a right. You have a right to not want to do it. You have a right to be grumpy. You have a right to be knackered. You have a right to resent everything. Like, that's perfect. I've never heard that said. That is perfect, because it's not to be underestimated how difficult it is. Like, you're in your own head and you're dealing with these emotions and feelings that change every minute, every second, and every day is different. But I guess, like, I've sort of in the book and stuff, I sometimes equate it to going to the gym. I've never been to the gym, but I'm guessing that to get stronger, you have to repeat the same thing over and over, and it hurts like hell to begin with. You know, I know it from cycling. You know, climbing up that hill when you've not done it before makes your lungs explode and taste iron in your mouth, and it's horrible, and you're like, oh my god, this is horrendous, but you get like that glimmer of feeling afterwards. The more and more you do it, the stronger you get. And yeah, I think it's like anything, like we were saying with relationships, with schedule, with everything. You have to work at it, but you also have to be super kind to yourself. I think it's you can't beat yourself up about it. Tomorrow's a new day, you know, try again. You can't force this stuff, but you have to be in this constant balance of sort of pushing yourself, but not pushing yourself too far, and identifying when to push it. And I think all that's going to do is make you more an introspective person. You're going to end up learning more about yourself, your patterns, your flow, your everything, and to be more mindful of how you're feeling. There's no downside to that, surely. It's just sort of emotionally, mentally healthy. So yeah, completely.
And you know, talking about relationships and being, you know, having the importance in communication with your partner, or you know, even like work partner. We have here Caroline saying that her husband also taught her about work/life balance, and he's the one who encouraged her to slow down. So shout out to all the partners out there. Even if you're single, of course, you can also like push yourself by yourself and get inspired by other artists, get inspired by, you know, our guests, for example. Like there's always someone, whether it's in your life or like it's online, that also like pushes you to take these steps forward. Amazing, Gav. So I do have a question here in regards to, you know, how do you keep going? So can you share with us one of the projects, you know, starting with one of the projects that, you know, in regards to the 2020 in review, do you have one of the first projects that you would like to share with us today?
Yeah, let's have a little look see. And actually, tell you what, I'm gonna show. This is just a graphic that represents something that happened during lockdown. Was I started live streaming. I really miss sort of connection with people, and that's what a huge thing was for working at Aardman. Like I miss that environment. I miss the studio. I miss the people. I miss the you know, the conversations you'd have, making a cup of coffee and all of that stuff. And I think quite early on in lockdown, I basically sort of did two things. I started a Discord, and the Discord is called The Happy Place. And it's called The Happy Place because I just wanted a positive place for people to escape to on the internet. And as we're all working from home, to just have a text chat location that was like a safe space. So much of the internet into 2020 was toxic. You know, with everything going on with the elections, with Brexit, all of this horrible stuff, it's you have to work to filter out the noise and to filter out the hate. And so I kind of started the Happy Place Discord as just a place to make myself happier. And so we've built this lovely community. So please do come and find us on the Happy Place. If you follow me on Twitter, which I'm at JamFactory, then I'll post a link later to the Happy Place. So do come and join us on that. So that felt awesome. But then sort of pushing that onwards, really, I really got into live streaming because obviously, Nathalie, we're old friends. We you know, met through speaking at Off, and, you know, Off Festival is just one of my life, you know, loves, and I miss being there. And of course we were going to see each other last year, and me and James White's Signal Noise were going to talk. So missing giving talks it was a real release for me. I very much enjoy shouting about what I love doing, and so I kind of felt like perhaps streaming on Twitch or just live streaming in general could be an outlet for that. And I've really enjoyed the journey. Basically, what I love about it is the design side. Like here, these are a couple of emotes, just pixel-based emotes that people can use on the chat. And what I loved about it is you basically get to design and create your own TV show. I mean, it gets pretty full on because you have to also be the audio engineer and the vision mixer and the camera person and the host and the designer and the moderator all in one. Wow. But it's great. You get a lovely sense of community, and obviously like what you've got right now with the live chat, like that is lovely. It's totally different to what a talk is, you know, and I really missed using off as an example, like feeding off that energy of 3,000 people in the same space, and and being silly and being fun and being positive, which is something me and Mr. Signal Noise like love doing as part of our Hustlemania talk.
Shout out to James White.
Hold tight, James White. We'll be back
here. I don't know. Captain America, James White.
Yes, good old James. Yeah, we love James. And me and James have talked a lot this year. And actually, funny enough, me and jumping over to another slide, me and James also did an Instagram live sort of series before I started in the live stream. Me and James would do Hustlemania online because we couldn't do it for real, and it's all themed like this ridiculous over the top 80s wrestling match, because we do these sort of shared Insta lives just talking about creativity and stuff. So I think what was really fun about pushing things this year was I guess trying to get a sense of connection again, and to try and replace the things that aren't happening for the moment. Hopefully we can. Well, this is the other thing. I don't think we can go back to normal. I think we have to be changed by this. I think we have to take the positives and we have to reconfigure, because we can't just go back to normal. It's not going to be safe to. We have to find a way to bring old and new together. And so I guess just trying to take control of the things I could control, and that was sort of my creative outlet for talking about visual things and just all things positive, was doing these streams. So it's been cool doing that. And I took a big break over Christmas, and because we had a baby, but I'm hoping to sort of start streaming again in the next few weeks, and I'm having to think that very differently as well, because I used to stream twice a week on lunchtimes and once in the evening.
Oh wow.
Evening time is my family time now, and lunchtime, because I'm working from home, my family's down there, so I'm going to pull it back to just one lunchtime a week, and actually take the pressure off myself. I used to do topics and themes and different things every week, and it became quite difficult to sort of keep that up. But actually I've found that the most responsive sessions are when the topics is quite loose, and I'm sort of hosting like you are, and just trying to be creative and positive, looking at fun movies, games, experiences, and keeping it quite loose and being quite reactive, but always keeping it positive and creative. And so I think I'm actually going to sort of swap it up, and again, that wouldn't have happened if my situation hadn't changed. So I think I just quite like sort of always trying to go onwards and sort of change things as your situation changes and react accordingly, I guess. Yeah, completely. It's just like a chocolate philosophy, like full of happiness and positivity, and just I just love it. I love it. And then for I know that you also, I'm not sure, I don't know if we're able to talk about this today, but I know that one of your biggest projects, which was like, this was actually like pure positivity, because it was for Greenpeace. Yes.
So I know that it was also like one of your biggest short film that you worked on as a director. Can you tell us more about that, and how was that a challenge? I mean, I know that it was one of the biggest projects you've done last year.
So it was the absolute project of a lifetime. In a nutshell, I got to direct a short film at Aardman for Greenpeace, and it was a film called Turtle Journey, which I had the honour of the story was a very personal thing to me. I came up with a story outline, worked with an incredible writer called Sam Morrison, who made it wonderful, but it came from a real personal place of, it was all about a campaign for Greenpeace to help the Protect the Oceans campaign, which is basically asking for sort of ocean sanctuaries, to have designated ocean sanctuaries around the world, so we can really protect the wildlife and the ecosystems, because human activity, and it's not just any one thing, it's deep sea drilling, it's plastic pollution, it's overfishing, there's lots of different things that all contribute from human activity to the destruction of habitats and lives, animals' lives. And so I got to make this sort of anthropomorphic film that was sort of took this family of turtles and put them in a real human position. I framed it as a journey home, a long journey home whilst you've been on holiday, and everyone's cramped in the car, and the toddler needs a wee, and the teenager is stuck in its game and someone else is doing something else. Dad's doing his own directions. Mum's trying to keep everyone entertained. Like all of these sort of a family in a car. What was wonderful is it got to make it really powerful. It was only 100 seconds long, but basically I needed to sort of, well, we all wanted to make the audience laugh, then cry, and then feel galvanized. So we really got to tell a very personal film, because I really dug deep and just thought, well, what would be the most emotionally devastating for me would be to lose a member of my family. You know, it's unthinkable, but it happens, you know. But sadly, if that happened to another human, you know, and so this is framed like a behind the scenes documentary, like you're catching up with the family a year on. You know, if you saw that advert, you saw this documentary on TV, you would really empathize with that person. And you know when you watch a documentary, if that person that's been interviewed is asked an emotional question, you don't even need to know the context. But if that person then kind of can't look at the camera and looks away, swallows the lump in their throat, and the eyes become glazed, like you as a human understand how powerful that is, and you may not even know what happened, but your heart breaks because you can see the anguish and the grief they're in. And I thought we have that empathy with humans, but for some reason we have this disconnection with animals. And so it was sort of anthropomorphizing this turtle family who would go through such a tragedy as this. But they're, you know, and it was all done in stop frame with CGI. So on so many levels, this was just an absolute dream. Like, I adore working in the stop frame medium. You know, we got to work with the absolute superstars of Aardman's animation team, but it was also beautifully rendered in beautiful CG environments. So we got to have lots of sort of beautiful physical props and sets, but all combined into this amazing CG landscape. You know, we got something, the voice talent was incredible. We had Olivia Colman as the mum, you know, who was incredible. David Harbour from Stranger Things was the dad. Helen Mirren was the grandma. Jim Carter was the granddad. You know, Bella Ramsey was a daughter. Ahir Shah was a comedian, was a teenager. So, you know, every single step of it was just it just felt like overwhelming almost. It's like this is what this is like the project of a lifetime. So I just wanted to absolutely throw everything I had into it, and that basically, that we were in production at the end of 2019, and it came out I think the 6th or the 16th of January in 2020. So that's the way the year kicked off. And oh, it was awesome, mate. It won a bunch of awards as well, which was super lovely.
It recently won the jury award, right? For Annecy Film Festival.
Yeah, and Annecy is royalty. It's animation royalty, and I was over the moon when we found out that we had a nomination, but to win the jury award, oh my days. But the worst thing was, you know, Annecy, if people don't know, is also the area of Annecy in the south of France. It looks absolutely stunning, and the awards is there, and of course the awards due was 2020, and so it was all virtual, and they are gonna invite all the winners to Annecy this year, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So it's like sod's law. It's like, oh my God, we won an Annecy award. Oh my God, we get to go. Oh no, we don't.
No. Oops, no.
No, but it was incredible to be recognised, and we also won like the top 20 of 20 from the APA society as well, which is, you know, our film was amongst like IKEA and Apple and all these huge brands, but to work with someone like Greenpeace was just an honour. So yeah, it makes my heart sing, that project. I'm so proud.
That's so good. And I have Gareth here asking if it was shot on green screen or is that a back projection?
So it was all shot on blue screen. We couldn't do green because the turtles were green, and if we would have done it on green, then the turtles would have disappeared. But it was so the puppets themselves and their clamshell car, what they ride in, that was all an actual real object, and it even has real working lights, which was gorgeous. And then the whole environment was all blue screen. So then we used CG to place that in there. But it was great. So all of the 3D CG modelers, you know, all modeled this gorgeous underwater environment, but in like a stop frame aesthetic. So everything was quite oversized with texture and stuff. So it was this awesome mix of both CG and stop frame. And we were quite ambitious with pretty much every camera. Every shot had a sort of a camera move on it, which is quite difficult to do in stop frame. You have to program the camera, which basically moves on a frame by frame basis to sort of to feel natural. And yeah, it was awesome. It was like a beautiful blend of sort of old and new technologies. It was so exciting.
Genius. Oh my God, that must have been like such like, you know, an amazing thing to do. I mean, I don't know what to say. Like I invite everyone to check. We shared the link on the chat, so I invite everyone to look into that. That's congrats. Yeah, I mean, this is just like one of the, like you said, it's a lifetime, one of those lifetime changes that happen. And you know, talking about like exploring projects and exploring disciplines. I know that you are a drummer, and I know that you did explore some tunes during past year, right? Do you have more to share about that?
Yeah, so I've been a drummer for about, I don't know, 12, 13 years now, and I love it. I love the energy of it. I love playing sort of fast and loud and heavy. Like, it's a real cathartic thing for me. Just to get that energy out is amazing. Like my drum teacher that I had sort of once said, yeah, you have two volumes, loud and effing loud. And I was like, oh, thanks, man. And he was like, it's not really a compliment. Like, I just don't have dynamics. It's sort of like, it's either just like, it's just full on. But that's a big part of it. But I sort of over the years I just have always enjoyed music and production and also like physical things. And so I just got more and more confidence throughout the year to sort of make music. But like drumming, like I don't play in a band. I've never shared it with anyone. I'm too scared. I don't know why. I'm happy to go on a stage in off and speak to 3,000 people. That doesn't scare me. It excites me, but it doesn't make me scared. But the thought of playing music in front of people absolutely terrified me, even though it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter at all. There is no one's going to get hurt. It's fine. But for some reason, I was always very, very nervous. But this year, I've just decided to just put it out there. And so for the first time, I like made my own sort of show reel this year, like my new show reel, but I sort of did the animation and I did the editing, but then I was like, I'm going to make the music as well. So I made the beat for that. I did a sort of a graphic design show reel and I made a different beat. I even sampled my son, so I've got my son Sully sort of saying JamFactory 2020, and I sort of like cut his audio files up and sort of made it. So yeah, what I've really enjoyed though this year is just thinking, oh, it doesn't matter, just put it out there. And it's funny because I don't get much feedback. I mean, I don't get much interactivity with it. You know, I'm just putting it out there, but it's really nice just putting it out there regardless, you know, and just, it doesn't matter. It actually sort of, it makes me feel like I'm being a bit nervous and then going, there you go. Doesn't matter, just try it. And what you're seeing here on screen is sort of something like I really like physical sort of buttons and things, and there's this tiny awesome little thing called the Teenage Engineering OPZ, which is basically a sequencer and a synthesizer, like a tiny one, but it's super powerful. And it can also talk to Unity and can also send MIDI signals. So here I'm using a piece of software called Notch, which is listening to those MIDI signals and reacting in real time. And so I sort of made this sort of like mini little installation thing, and all that is I got my big 27-inch LG screen, lay it down flat, and then filmed it from the top. So, you know, just trying to play and experiment really. So I'm really glad that I do it though. I enjoy it, and I don't know music theory. I think that's a joy of being a drummer. Reading drum music is very easy. The lowest drum is on the bottom line and the highest drum is at the top, so you just hit stuff. You know, it's not that complex. But I can't read proper music, and so I've sort of just make it up as I go along, and I've just kind of realised that yes, it might not be technically correct, and yes, it might be awful. It probably is awful, but I shouldn't let that stop me. I shouldn't let that stop me learning and growing and trying, and just putting it out there. But you know, actually, I don't actually know if I've got it in here. Oh no, I don't have it in my presentation, but I ended up doing a sort of like a piece of music and an edit for some friends of mine in New York who run a great studio, and I got to make the music, and
oh my god,
and that was awesome. You know, I got to do the edit and the music together, and you know, it's just, you never know. I guess the point is you absolutely never know what's gonna happen and where things are gonna come from. So yeah, I'd like to do more of that, actually, just incorporate music.
That's already like really motivational. You know, like just hearing you out, and I'm sure like the audience would confirm that. Like just hearing that, it just makes me want to go and start doing that thing that I've always wanted to do, but I've been like saying, no, I won't be able to show it to anyone. But this is something that we talked about, you know, in the past streams on Adobe Live, which is you do not need, of course, education is important, that's for sure. Kids go to school, but sometimes a degree does not define your ability to do things. Of course, I mean, you do have a small background in music, which is because you learned to play drums, but you know, this did not limit you, and it allowed you to kind of like explore and experiment with all these things, just by having, you know, your own desk, your own tools, and hopefully, you know, this will invite everyone that is watching us today to go ahead and be positive, believe in yourself, and just do it, because there's like, you're not gonna lose anything. That's like the most important thing.
I think that's it. Like risk is something that gets talked about a lot in the creative industries. But I think when you take a step back and get perspective, we are so unbelievably fortunate, because we don't have physical risk. Like no one will get hurt. I mean, if you're getting, if you physically hurt yourself while you're trying to be creative, something's going wrong there. But like no one gets hurt. The actual risk is very low. It's quite an emotional risk to put yourself out there. But I think, like all things, you always have to take a step back and get perspective, and just think, well, okay, what will happen if I do this? It might be like someone might laugh at me, someone might send a mean tweet. But what if I don't do this? Then your soul might die, because you spent your life just holding back. And of course it's incredibly important here to talk about sort of inherent privileges, and there's many reasons why people don't have access or the framework or the situation. It's very, very easy here for me as a white male to be like, hey, just do it, just try it, life's just short. I am very, very aware of that. I'm very aware that it's very easy for me to say this, but I guess it's just everyone's situation is always going to be different. So you have to try and find within your own framework how to sort of put one foot in front of another, and because that's all you can ever do. You can only ever concern yourself with yourself and sort of make yourself do things. So I guess if it's anything, you've just got to try and find any little thing out there that will motivate you to just do it, try it, get it out there. And if it doesn't work, you know, to try something else or things like that. But I just think, you know, one day we'll be dead, and I don't want a headstone that says, wish I'd spent more else, or wished I'd been more, you know, cautious in trying creative things. You know, I think when you limit it to the creative industries, you know, we have the power and the tools. You know, we're on a platform. We're live streaming right now. We're you know, thousands of miles away from each other. We're talking about creativity. We're connected. We're talking to people in real time. You know, we have incredible tools at our disposal, and just got to use them and abuse them, I think.
Yeah, use them and abuse them. I like that. We're gonna use that as a new quote. And you know, like, okay, so I would love to kind of like ask you about getting into more animation and motion design. I do have a question from Gareth. He is a motion graphic designer. His question is that does Gavin do peer reviews? Because his friend talked about how when their brother moved to a new business, they had to up their game in terms of skills. Do you have any advice in terms of that?
Great question. Thanks for the question. Yeah, I mean, funny enough, talking about peer reviews and stuff, and actually, funny enough, it's something that since obviously the universities have closed, and obviously people's education has suffered hugely in the last 12 months. And actually, something that I want to do is just sort of, and this is an official shout out, like if I can help anyone and give any advice or help, please reach out. Like hit me up on Twitter or Insta or email or anything. Like if I can help and be useful, if our education structure isn't isn't in a great place right now, I would love to help and be useful. So if anyone in the chat ever needs any advice, or I mean, the little that I know, I'm very, very happy to share. So that's always something. And I want to do this like officially and sort of share it out and just have a place for, you know, students, or not even students, anyone that needs a bit of advice. I think, you know, it's kind of almost not a responsibility, because not everyone has to do it. But, you know, if we can all look out for each other and be useful, that'd be cool. But in terms of sort of like leveling up and skills, I mean, also, again, let's not underestimate how flipping hard that is. As well, you know, it's so, and I get this all the time, you know, you see someone else's work and you're like, oh my God, you're incredible. And the gap between you and to get there feels unattainable. It feels like I'm never going to be that. And it can be absolutely soul crushing, and you can just spiral, you know. Obviously there's another benefit of all this madness is people are far more openly talking about mental health and their feelings, which is flipping wonderful. That is awesome. We need more of that. That is great. There's never going to be a downside to more people being open about their feelings with each other. But so that feeling of like, how do I get there, can be just crushing. But I think you just have to take it one step at a time, literally one step at a time, and you've just got to put in the work. And that work that's not a call to work yourself into the ground. That's not a call to, you know, to work 23 hours a day and sleep one. How people work is totally different. Yeah, totally different. It's not about the hustle. It's not about like this weird LinkedIn bro culture where it's like, I get up at 3 a.m. By 3:30, I've replied to 6,000 emails. I've made 18 coffees and I'm already handling business. Like this bizarre world of sort of showing off like how much you've achieved in a certain time. Like it's different for everyone. And like, I'm quite slow. I'm just naturally quite slow at sort of the way I develop things, the way I think about things. And that's fine. I wish I would be quicker and snappier, but that's how I work. And I have to work around that. I try and be better, but you know, I have to go, okay, that's my style of working. So I think that my bumbling point is that really to sort of level up and skill, you've just got to really sort of try and find systems that work for you, whether that's going on a course. And so for me with the music, actually, I actually was going to do a small commission for some animation stuff for a friend of mine, and I started doing the music, and I had to stop after a day and actually be honest and say, I'm so sorry, I can't do it. My skill level is not good enough. I really desperately wanted to do it, but I couldn't. I had to identify straight away. I just did not have the framework there yet for me to efficiently make music. I'm quite sprawling and it's quite explorative, and that's great for myself because there's no client, there's no expectation. But as soon as there was expectation there, I just failed, and that was a wake-up call, and that motivated me to go on like a month-long course for music on Learn Monthly, and I really enjoyed it. It was really tough and I learned a hell of a lot. But so for me, that was my catalyst to sort of learn more about music structure and formulating musical ideas. So, you know, for me, it was a course that worked, but, you know, for other people, it might be different ways. But I think it comes down to you just have to sort of identify where you can, where and how you can skill up and possibly hone in on what it is you're good at and also what it is you're not so good at and improve that. But I think also just improvement just comes over time. Like anything, hopefully we're all growing and learning, and you just get better at something the more that you do it. So, you know, hopefully it's something that you love and something you're excited by, and that progression will come. It's obviously just always tough when you're measured against another, and that can be quite hard, really. But, you know, you can't be rushed. You're not, you know, when that situation happens, you're not like, oh yes, sorry, I'm not amazing yet because I was just mucking about. You know, everyone genuinely, naturally wants to be the best that they can be, right? So I think, you know, that comes down to kindness as well, of being as kind as possibly, as kind to yourself as you possibly can. But I guess it's just looking in your structure, your framework, your time, and to put in the hours to sort of get to a level that you want to be. But it's really difficult. So never underestimate that. Like, it's emotional.
I think it's also like, of course, be kind to yourself, and just if you turn down a project or like a commission, I think this is definitely, and I love how you say it. It was not a negative thing because it was more like a catalyst. Like it got you, it pushed you to to push yourself and learn about it, and then once you're ready you can do it. So that's another positive thing that we have to look at, as creative people or as someone that is starting in their career. And I completely agree with you. I have well, I wouldn't say but it's like you said, when someone really shows off about how many hours they work or how many coffees they're having, or that's good, of course, because you're being productive. But at the same time, this is not an example of how things should be. You could have a slow workflow. You could take your time. You could just like spend 2 or 3 days doing absolutely nothing, but then you come out of it and then you do something at 100% of it. And I would like to quote Ron Swanson from my favorite Parks and Rec show, where he said, do not well, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but he says like you have to do a thing at fully and not just do two things without giving them both like the full attention, like I don't recall the exact quote, but as much attention you put into one passion project, I think that's enough for you. And then once you can put your energy into something else that you're ready for, then that's okay as well. So and I would like to say that it's so generous of you, to offer your help to everyone who's watching us here. And I have Stuart here saying that he's saying that you already helped a lot with the Do Fly book. And we have many people here that already purchased the book already from because we did talk about it in our last stream. So that's just amazing. And just by you mentioning, your help, we also had a wonderful typography masterclass this past Wednesday with the amazing Raisa Pardini. And one of the things, again, one of the positive things that we're getting out of this lockdown or like these changes is that you have more time. And what she's doing right now is she's working 4 days a week, but then she decided to keep the Friday for the community. So she's offering a free portfolio review to the online community. And the same with you, like you are doing these streams and you are, just offering help to all these people. I think this is just one of the most amazing things that we're taking advantage of, thanks to this global challenge that we're facing now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's just nice seeing that. So there are a lot of positives that come out of this, and like you said, sometimes just getting out of bed should be celebrated, and because I think I think about things sort of like really sort of through rose-tinted glasses, and I'm always positive, but I just think honestly life is too short in a sense of we're all just human beings on this big spinning rock in the sky, and really it comes down to when you meet your maker or whatever happens and you join the universe again, you kind of want to say in your heart of hearts, in every atom, that it's like, yeah, I was a good person. I did things I enjoyed. I was kind, and I spent it with other human beings that made me happy. Like that. It's obviously that's so super sentimental, but what else is there?
Yeah.
What else is there? We're just vibrating atoms buzzing around that have managed to sort of live for 100 years. That's incredible. I just think it's quite nice to sort of to take a step back every now and then and remember that and go, yeah. So I'm gonna pursue the things that make me happy, really. So yeah, I think but again, that's my technique. That's my technique for trying to stay motivated, trying to stay happy, trying to be kind, trying to be all those things. It's different for everyone, isn't it? Some people right now are probably thinking, that's a stupid way to look at it. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But you got to do what works for you.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I love that. And then I don't know if we can see it here on the presentation, but I know that during lockdown you created this amazing LED screen for everyone. Was it like with a positive message?
Oh yeah. with the stay home save lives. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
the looping animation.
Oh yeah. I did this stay home save lives. This was in the first lockdown, and so that is an LED screen that my friend Stefan Goodchild built for me, actually for my own solo show quite a few years ago. And it basically it just displays GIFs on a loop, and it just lives in my den now. And and I thought actually I wanted to make something that I made at home and film it in my home about staying in your home. And so it was just a fun little thing. It's only sort of 32 by 32 pixels high. And so I did it all in animated it in After Effects, and then exported it as a GIF and pushed it out onto the screen, and then sort of change my LED lights to glow with it as it's going through. So yeah, I think as well, I just felt very passionate at the time and I still do, about sort of the importance of it all. And obviously when things first kicked off, a lot of people were obviously as well sort of, you know, taken back with the shock and the magnitude as to what was happening. So it was sort of like my plea to be like, just go on, stay home, save lives, sort of thing. And it, you know, just my way, I guess, like anything, I only really know how to deal with something creatively. So I made this silly little thing, but it's fun. You know, it's nice. No, I'd never done that before. I'd never done that with sort of that screen. So it's just fun to try.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's so playful. You know, it just makes something sad, makes it like completely happy, and just like you do want to stay home. You know, just by watching that animation. So we're kind of, you know, close to the end of our session, but before, I would like to kind of talk about how you involve, you know, your surroundings and you know, into your career. And I know that this past year we talked backstage very briefly how like you have more time to do things, I mean, you know, not more time, but just like you have more structure for your routine, right? Like you get to see your kids more, you get to collaborate more. I mean, we've seen so many collaborations that you've done, like in regards of coffee packages, and you are such like a big supportive of other artists, and like this is all for me and for us, of course, a huge like I don't know, energy of you know, just to see like it's not just about commissions and client work, but it's also about side projects and involving, you know, the artists around you and collaborating. So can you just share with us some like of the past projects that you did?
Yeah, sure. Actually, yeah, it's really nice that this year, last year was a bunch of collaborations, and actually on my post-it notes here, I've got quite a few sort of collaborations lined up as well, like a skateboard and a sculpture and a toy and a virtual band. So I've got some really exciting things coming this year. But yeah, last year was great. So this was a collaboration between myself, Extract Coffee, a brilliant coffee roastery here in Bristol, and Milliken, and a beautiful sort of home, well, not homeware, like lifestyle brand that make beautiful sort of sustainable bags in the north of England. They're awesome. And so I ended up doing like this 3D piece for them. I ended up doing a album artwork for my friends Ill Smooth Sporadic, which is a UK rap group, and they have their second album called Drug Corpse 2. I ended up doing some the artwork for that, and that was great because the music's really grimy and dark, and they wanted something dark. And you know, if people have seen my work before, they don't always think that I like that kind of stuff. I think I love using hot pink and gold, but I also I love all sorts of aesthetics. I'm really into lots of different sort of design styles. So it was really nice to sort of make something that was just a bit darker and grimier. And like, I'd love to do more of that. I really would. I'd love to do more of that sort of style. And I also like taking things as far as I can. So then I sort of took all those designs and turned them into half print to see, you know, if we could make t-shirts and things like that. I always love any collaboration that happens to sort of give her as many options to take it as far as possible. So if it exists as one thing, how can we repurpose it and make it into others, just to give it a bigger life and to make things go on, which is fun. Obviously, sadly, I made this graphic for you guys at Off Festival that was going to be a book, but it will be repurposed in the future. And you know, that was just a lovely thing, making a portal. What else did I do? Oh, I just, my son's birthday, I love making anything that I can to to sort of celebrate him. And because it was his 3rd birthday, we went to our local skate park, which is an indoor concrete pool. And so I made him like this gnarly, super rad poster for his birthday.
That's what we talked about, like involving your surroundings, you know, into your work, and into like this gratefulness, you know, that you have, and the fascination that you have around you. So it's so cool. I love this.
No, thank you. Yeah, I just love giving my all, really. And so this was the thing that I've also been working on at the minute. This was a graphic for the campus pool. So that same skate park we took our son to is it's basically an old swimming pool that they took over and converted into a concrete skate park. It's awesome, and it's called the Pool. And I did the branding for it when they first opened as well. And so for this sort of like new print that they did, I kind of imagined it like, because it's a pool, I imagined what it'd be like in like 50s Americana, like a tiki bar pool. And so I sort of had all these tiki faces, but turned them into like what would happen if those tiki faces took loads of gnarly skateboard slams. And so that's why I've sort of styled it like a tiki bar of, hey, come take a slam at the pool. And now we're turning that into a skateboard deck, which I've been working on. That's what I've been working on these very early mornings recently. And so I feel really happy that I've made some progress with that, which is great. So yeah, it's been lovely sort of collaborations. And just a quick shout out to this one. I got featured in the Apple Behind the Map campaign as well, which happened earlier in the year, which was sort of celebrating different UK creatives. And because I'm part of Aardman, it was sort of celebrating Shaun the Sheep and the work that I've worked on some of the Shaun stuff at Aardman, and yeah, this was on huge billboards, and it was lovely sort of being part of this campaign, which was so yes, it's been a lovely year of the collaborations for sure. It was really good.
Yeah, that's so nice. And yeah, and of course Peggy, the lovely greyhound, I know that she's also a very important part of all the positivity that you have also in your career, right? And I know that you did it's actually pretty emotional, because you know any pet owner like wants to include their pet somehow in their life. I know that your former greyhound, you also like created an online shop based on can you remind me the name of
yeah, it's called Strange. We had this online store called Strange. Me and my wife Jane, our surname is Strange. We had this brand called Strange, and the icon was our dog Arnie, who was a beautiful big old greyhound, and his silhouette was our icon. And you know, that was interesting. That was a something we had going for a couple of years, but we ended up closing it as we got busier being parents, and just the difficulty of building a brand is really, really difficult. I'm so proud that we tried it. I'm so proud that we did it. We called it Strange after our family name, and our wedding, instead of wedding gifts, we actually asked if anyone did want to do anything, they could give us a little contribution, and that we used that contribution to start our brand. So it was all invested in, like, our family helped us build it, and I'm really glad we tried it. But I'm also, you know, the lessons we learned with how difficult it is was very emotional, but very, you know, I'm glad we went through it. So yeah, you know, and so we used Arnie as our icon, and we, you know, we sadly lost Arnie a few years ago, but our greyhound Peggy is our beloved, you know, family member as well. So yeah, it's just lovely, just trying to make work as, you know, as personal as possible. Yeah,
exactly. Gavin, I feel like we could all like listen to you just like forever, just like I and some people also like are asking you to come back to the stream. And
thanks everyone, it's very kind.
And we even have Stuart here. He wants to rewatch the stream over and over again. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who kept on watching us today. And I hope that all this amazing positivity and ball of energy from Gavin will help you, you know, take your next step and just do the things and hopefully, you know, just get all these tips and you know, start making things happen. I want to thank you so much, Gavin. It was absolutely wonderful to have you. And we will definitely keep in touch and hopefully have you back. I want to remind everyone that we do have a Discord channel, so do join us on the Adobe UK so we can keep the conversation happening. And And also don't forget that we are live again next Monday with Joe Allen. He will be speaking with James. You can see the schedule, the Adobe Live schedule on the Behance page. We have an amazing masterclass with Maddie and Tony Harmer on Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. I can't wait to see it myself. And I will be back on Friday again with our monthly theme, this time with Bert Rice from Musketon. I can't wait to have this conversation with them and talk about, how thriving artists have also like done so much during the past year, just like the amazing Gavin here. So thank you so much, everyone. Tim, okay. It will be a Photoshop masterclass on Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. Can't wait for everyone to join us. Thank you again, Gavin, and thank you again, everyone. See you on Monday, and have an amazing weekend. Virtual hug.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Stay safe.
Bye.